The Eagles are 5-0, and we will not be talking about it that much on Comic Book Canon. That's all right. Sorry, I had to mention it. I know you guys you'll be okay with it. We'll move on. We'll have a great Comic Book Canon show tonight. But the Eagles are 5-0. Chris, I'll just bring you in so we can just stop right here and we can just start talking about other things. Is that right? I mean, the Niners won.
Yep. They did. It's a good day. That's all I got to say.
So it is a good day. Our guest co-host or potential guest co-host, she is a Lions fan, so we'll get into that. This just hasn't been a good season, or is it ever a good season for the Lions? We'll get into that with her. We don't know.
Oh man.
It's not like the Eagles have won that many championships. It's just been one in 2017, 2018. But anyways, we're here to just get into it with Comic Book Canon. Is that right?
Absolutely.
What do we do, Chris? How was your week, man?
It was crazy.
Yeah, mine was pretty crazy as well.
25 second graders in the classroom. It's madness. But I love it.
Yeah, honestly, man, these weeks go by so quick. It's like, okay, the show wrapped. We have so much time before the next show, and then all of a sudden, here we are scrambling to get a show on. So anyways, we're happy to be here. We're happy to be with you. We were also very, 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 very happy to see a new Wakanda Forever trailer. It was absolutely incredible. It gave us a glimpse of the new Black Panther. We also got a multitude of new posters, including this one right here. Look at it. This thing is just gorgeous. But people are automatically assuming that Shuri is the Black Panther. However, in an interview with Lupita Nyong'o and Danielle Guerrera say, not so fast.
Yep.
Nyong'o says, we love the speculation. Guerrera says, they're not getting all of it right. Nyong'o, nope, they haven't guessed it at all. Oh my goodness. Are they just messing with us, Chris? Or is there more to that trailer than we are just not suspecting?
Okay. First off, what have I been saying ever since we, because you and I both took a hiatus of even talking about Black Panther and Black Panther 2 since the passing of Chadwick Boseman. I've been saying ever since we started talking about it for about 2 years now. I've been saying this. There's going to be more than one Black Panther in this film. I'm telling you, right? I still, the little sneak peek of the leg and the claw coming out of the hand in the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Killmonger. And then this, yeah, it's obviously a woman. Everyone's assuming it to be Shuri, and I don't think it is. But I'm not to say that Shuri might not be wearing the suit as well, or a suit in this film. So I think that, look, we know with Marvel movies, they're going to play tug of war with us and tease us one way or the other. So I think it can go both ways. I absolutely think Lupita's character can show up in the suit in this film, and or Shuri. So I don't know, man. I just think it's so funny though that everyone just look, it's a woman in a Black Panther suit.
Yeah.
Shuri.
There's so many other options it could be, and I there's also somebody found there's a moment in the trailer where you see Namor coming down with a spear or something like that, and in the background there's a different looking Black Panther. Now that could be a completely different costume associated with the same person who's underneath, but there are so many different options that they could go with. It's just going to be a massive amounts of speculation leading up to the release in November. But it's interesting to say that they have not seen anybody guess the whole situation yet. So these fan favorite theories are not completely panning out. It'll be interesting to see. Moving on, Chris, we have some more MCU-ish news. Chris?
Yeah, so here we go with, fan speculation and everything, with the hype, with the Daredevil hype hitting a climax this last week, because we finally got to see Daredevil in the
that shouldn't be a spoiler, people. It's all over social media. You can't really avoid it. You knew it. He was going to be there based off of even the last trailer before the series started, so don't be mad at us. Go ahead.
Exactly. So no spoilers. It is what it is. Daredevil finally shows up. Since this, though, we have rumors circulating all over the internet that Eiza Gonzalez, who played Elektra in the Netflix Daredevil show, would be returning to the role of Elektra in the upcoming Disney Plus Daredevil series Born Again. But So sorry for you Netflix series fans. Gonzalez herself went to Twitter to quickly shut down these rumors, stating, quote, I feel like I'm just going to go out of the way because, one, I'm confused for the moment of the hate over this, and two, I feel like it saves people energy. No, I'm not cast as Elektra in Daredevil. A little bit more of her tweet was a little, I think she had kind of maybe a finger slippage when she was typing, but she was trying to say something along the lines of she already has an ongoing series exclusivity contract. She went on to post a couple more tweets reiterating that she doesn't understand what all the hate is, but she did further state that she would love to be in another superhero role at some point in time in the future. When it comes to the hate, I think she's just probably referring to maybe the hate over how they portrayed Daredevil in the She-Hulk show. I don't know, but the bottom line here is if we do get Elektra in the MCU, in MCU canon, it will absolutely be another actress.
Not necessarily.
But there you go.
Because Tatiana, aka Jen Walters, aka She-Hulk, also denied being cast in She-Hulk. Now, I'm not saying that, that Eliza is going to be in Daredevil as Elektra. They may not even have Elektra in this, whatever this iteration will be just yet. I thought she was great as Elektra in season 3 or 2? I can't remember which
2 and 3.
2 and 3, and then she was in Defenders as well. So I thought she was great. I would love to see her back in the role, but it's tough having she's signed to a series, I think, for 3 seasons called The Cleaning Lady on Fox. I've never seen it before, but it's going to be hard to balance something like that because Marvel really needs that availability for the production schedule as well as unplanned pickups for those things. So, anyways. Other actors have denied that they are in a series and have been in the series, so I wouldn't lose any hope. But again, either way, we live in a great day and age where we're going to see another Daredevil series in the MCU this time. So that's super, super exciting. You know what else is super exciting? Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, one more thing. I will say this, she could just be putting the rumors to rest of her actually like being cast at the moment. Like, we never know. Like you said, maybe there's not even an Elektra in the series. Who knows if when Marvel Studios may want to bring the character in, that they don't reach out to her and work something out. Right. That is something that could still be up in the air as well. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Again, yep. And I don't know what the hate she's talking about. I'm sure there's probably some, I don't want to speculate and say the typical bullshit that we
social media.
Yeah, with the courageous people behind keyboards, but we'll leave it at that. You know what else is cool? Another new news piece is cool because things are moving forward on a beloved character by fans, myself included, especially if you love characters from the 90s. That's right. There is progress on the Spawn movie. Scott Silver, Malcolm Spellman, and Matthew Mixon are teaming up to write the Blumhouse-produced Spawn movie starring Jamie Foxx. Yes, this is still in the works, even though it's been probably 5 years since Jamie Foxx was announced. Scott Silver is known for his work on The Joker with Spellman, the writing on Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he'll also be writing Captain America: New World Order. Jamie Foxx is still on board and has not faltered from the project, even with all of these crazy delays. That's super good news. I mean, I loved the first movie when it came out, but you look at it now, it's like, this is definitely dated. So let's update this thing. McFarlane is all in on this thing. He can't afford to produce it himself. He does well for himself, but he can't afford this. So you're going through the natural progress of putting this package together for, Blumhouse is producing it, but you still need some more support in financing to get it done. I can't wait to see this happen. I'd love to see Jamie Foxx in that role. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx, this is, I think, what all fans are waiting for. I think he's going to kill it.
Yeah.
I don't mind the delays. I'm sure COVID probably got in the way of that as well. But there was a lot already on the table in terms of pushing this back, I think, before COVID even hit. But happy to hear the news. And this is another situation where, unlike, you look at DC, unfortunately, Warner Brothers, don't rush it. We're not fans aren't going anywhere. Jamie Foxx, obviously said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for the long haul. No matter how long it takes or what it takes to get this done, we're going to get it done. And I think that hopefully is going to make this even more special of a film and quality of film that the fans deserve once it is finally done in release.
Absolutely. Yeah, more to come. Definitely more to come. All right, and finally, this is not quite news, but it's Chris and I really were impressed by a recent offering from Disney Plus last week.
Yep.
My goodness, Chris, I loved it. We want to know what you guys think. Tell us in the chat while we talk about our thoughts. Werewolf by Night, a quick review. Chris, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, first off, and again, you know, this isn't hopefully spoilers. I mean, it is what it is. We have blood and gore.
Oh my gosh, do we? Yeah.
In the MCU for all those people that even as of, I was even in chat boards like literally this weekend with people like, oh, Marvel Studios is going to ruin Blade because they can't do R-rated stuff. They're going to ruin this, like that. Well, this was, I mean, you know, it was very, it wasn't in your face like Game of Thrones gore, but there was gore. There was blood splatter and stuff being chopped and all that stuff. So they are doing it. It's official. I thought the tone of it was very well done. The characters that were introduced were great. It was just fun. If I had to have, Man-Thing, by the way, awesome. If I had to have one kind of critique, I will say that the werewolf was a little, I don't know, you know, we didn't really, I don't think we really saw him in a good light to even get a gauge of his whole, like the way he actually looked. So I'm not going to be too much of a critic on it, but maybe there could be a little bit change moving forward. But I will say this, because there was a lot of backlash saying, oh, like, this is how a werewolf should be done. Look at this film or that. And you guys got to remember, even in the comic books, Werewolf by Night he has his own very unique look, and he's more humanoid than actually like just a man wolf. So it did actually resemble the comic. So I'm not going to hate on it too much.
No, definitely not. I absolutely loved it. I think it was done intentional to give you that kind of mysterious vibe where you don't see his full body at all times, but you do get bits and pieces there that you piece together in your head. I love the campiness. I love how well done it was. I loved how creepy and weird it was. Mm-hmm. They took a chance, and yeah, they added this gore in there. This is not something I expected from something on a Disney platform, and it was excellent. It was so well done. I need to watch it again. Gunnar Slurker, that's definitely the way to do it. Although I don't think I was too surprised. I mean, other than one character, which we mentioned, I'm not going to mention it again. But man, I cannot recommend this show enough, this special enough. And it looks like they will have more specials. We're going to get a Christmas special, by the way, from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to be awesome. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Absolutely.
So, all right, that there is the news, people. Moving on. We're going to bring in our guests, but before we do, we want to say hello to you fine people. We got Gunnar Slurker. We got Ghost Junk, who's tuning out because we were talking about Werewolf by Night. Simon R., what's up? Maz's Toy Box. We got 360 Comics, a.k.a. Joe, who did love Werewolf by Night as well. Jacob Comics in the house. Spider Dude. Jordan Nori is in the house. Peter Thornton, Raw Dog Comics. We got the one, the only, Tony Trombetta with EGS Comics. We love you. X11, bravo. Pedro Windu. What is up, Cannon? Who else? Stop with the Cowboys. I know Spider Dude and Tony are Cowboys fans. Just stop.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm glad they won today because it helped out the Niners. So
whatever. We helped out, too, by beating the Cardinals. So
yep.
There we go, talking NFL again. Our guest will not be happy because she is a Lions fan. Who else do we have? We have EW in the house. All right. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Very excited for this guest. Chris, are you excited for this guest?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, indeed. Our next guest describes herself as just a girl that loves comics and would like to share her passion and joy for comics with you. Well, we think she's more than that. In a male-dominated hobby, she's making a mark for all the female fans and soon-to-be fans like my daughter. For that, we are very excited to introduce Dani from Dani Girl Comics. How are you?
What up, though?
We are so happy you are here tonight. You are a fan. Everybody, link is below. Y'all better be following. You're approaching 1,300, or are you over 1,300?
You know, I didn't check it today, but I was at $12.99 yesterday. So,
Well, it better be over 1,300 after or by the end of this show, or else we're canceling the canon. We did it again. We are canceling the canon. No doubt about that. Dani, go tell us real quick, because again, this is your only opportunity where these are the pleasantries we go through right now, right? These, it's going to get pretty heated for you and a lot of pressure on your shoulders. So let's just get the pleasantries out of the way. How and why did you start your channel?
So I actually started doing YouTube videos for Discord, and just to test the waters to see, if they liked it, how it would go. And then, that kind of fizzled out. And so then I said, well, maybe I'll try it on my own. And I just started doing it just because actually I had an obsession with unboxing videos. I still do. I absolutely love them. And so I said, well, I'd like to share and see, how it goes with my books. And I also like to encourage people to not be ashamed of their collection. You see that a lot, like, especially in Facebook, where people are shaming people about their collection. I'm like, let's not be like that. So yeah. I like to be encouraging on my channel and collect what you like. So that's why I did it.
Well, we love that. We love the positive energy you do bring as a, member of this community. And again, my daughter's really starting to get into this stuff. She's 6, and it's made for everybody, and I'm super happy to have you on here. However, you may regret it after this interview. Before we get to it, anything you want to talk about upcoming on your channel?
Well, yeah, I'm going to shoot a couple of videos. I do have actually a couple of shipments that came in. One of them is about 10 comics I pressed on my own. Because I started diving into cleaning and pressing my own comics. And this is kind of going to be like a litmus test to see if I'm actually getting the hang of this thing or not. So depending on how that unboxing goes, I might share what I've done to actually grasp the concept and learn how to press. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Chris can give you a few words on the pressing game. He's well versed on that, right?
Yeah, I will say my kind of highlight reel of my pressing experience. I took a very good Eternals #2, pressed and cleaned it, sent it to CGC, and got a was it a 9.2 that came back? So that was pretty awesome.
Nice.
But it's all trial and error, it took me a while, and I definitely did some damage. I added some defects instead of, eliminated defects to many of 50 Cent books. But if you don't go through that, then you're not doing it right. You
got to start somewhere for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. End of the pleasantries. The interview begins. If this is your interview, Dani. If you don't leave us with a good impression, it's done for you. You'll never be invited back. So, Chris, let's just get it started. Let's go.
Okay. Before we do, you see where I'm from. So
we'll get into that.
Take it easy, or I might unleash the D on you.
Okay.
I love it. And Dani, speaking of that, this is going to be our focus for our interview today. We're going all in Detroit with these questions. Now, we learned a little bit about you. You are a big music fan. You really, really enjoy music, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna let me just ask you. This isn't a question that's gonna get you kicked off. Well, I don't know, Jeff. Who knows? What Jeff might
get your trigger finger.
Do you have a favorite genre?
If I had to pick one, I would probably say R&B.
Okay. All right. So we got some.
Although I do like hip hop, but if I had to choose one, it would be R&B.
Okay, for sure. All right. Well, let's get right into some Detroit hip hop, man. These two are actually real close family, but I got to see who you're going with here. Eminem or Royce da 5'9"?
Okay. All right. I'm going to say Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your? I'll get. I'm gonna give. Y'all might not know what my actual take on this is, but what
I
are
mean,
you? What are you putting into your decision to say Eminem?
You know, it was because of when he first came out. He was so weird and kooky, but and his lyrics freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. The way he talked about his baby mama and stuff like that, I was
Oh,
like,
yep,
this,
yep,
this
yep.
cat is crazy. But it was so unique. I loved it, you know, even though it was like seemed like he was off. You know, I'm like, man, this guy is crazy. But the way he does it, his style when he first came out, it just grabbed me.
For sure.
well,
So, Jeff.
here's the deal. Comic Book Canada is 50% me, 50% Chris. Chris
Yeah.
runs the interview. He may have the weight in the interview is a little bit heavier on your side. So I'm agreeing with Eminem, I have to say. Chris, I need to know your thoughts real quick.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm sure you know, Jeff, but I've never bought an Eminem album in my life. I respect the hell out of him. I think he's one of the greatest wordsmiths
Mm-hmm.
ever. I don't he's not even in my top, he's not in my top 10 greatest of all time, but I give him his respect you know, for everything that he's done. And there's an argument there because I just think that Royce the 5'9" doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves. And actually Eminem has came out and given a lot of credit to Royce for helping him evolve as a rapper. So I thought that was a really good pair to put up against each other. But I just think both of them honestly are obviously amazing artists repping Detroit. So
All right, so we're gonna I think we're gonna let this go.
Yeah.
Peter, you've been here long enough. You know how critical this interview is. You know how critical we can be with these answers. We're gonna nitpick every little detail if we have to get this right because you're the audience and you deserve the best. So we do it for you, Peter. Jeez. Anyways, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I will say, you know, I mean, some of these could be tougher than the others, but we're gonna get to this next one, and here we go.
These are all killing me, by the way, except for one.
Yeah, I know that's it's tough. I don't know if this is to Danny's benefit or not, but
We got to get through this interview quick too. We have a show to do.
I know, right?
These next two are like,
Yep.
Go ahead, Dan, you're in trouble.
Repping that Detroit. Stevie Wonder or Aretha Franklin.
Oh, come on.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Oh, man.
I don't envy you right now, but you have to choose one.
Okay, I'm gonna just be straight up. It's Aretha for me. It's a hard choice because I feel like Stevie is a genius. My mom, she even played with him. My mom was a drummer. And so she had the pleasure of playing with him a few times. But it's something about Aretha's voice that grabs me every time I listen to any of her songs. I absolutely love. She is the queen. And then her versatility. I don't know if you ever seen where she stepped in for Luciano Pavarotti when he couldn't sing one night, and she turned opera on everybody and nailed it. So she's just phenomenal. She was she's the one for me. Yeah.
You're spitting the facts. Like that's one. Honestly, there's no wrong answer, Chris. I defer to you, man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So maybe we could look at it as softball, but I will say, Danny, I mean, you killed your reasoning behind it. So
yeah,
very, very good argument. But yeah, just like Jeff said, I mean, that could go.
I want to kick her off
either way.
Yeah.
All right. We're keeping it music. This is another tough one.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Detroit, the Temptations, or the Supremes?
Oh, dude, what is up with these questions?
I said, yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Temptations on this one. You know, oh man, this is
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Temptations. You know, just I would say they both had style, but I mean the way they used to just move and sing and be so crisp with it and entertaining. I mean, the Supremes, they had their little box and stuff, but the Temptations was moving with it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They move with it. So
that's fair.
It's the style points.
Yeah. I what is it? I endorse this answer. What do they say? Is that
Yeah.
I endorse this message.
Your name is Chris, and you endorse this mess. Yeah. Again, there's no wrong answer with this one, but we got one more music question left.
All right, one more music question. Again,
we got to get through these, Chris. We really do. This one's yeah.
This could be a tough one too here. I mean, yeah.
All right.
But for the audience, man, we're keeping it Detroit. All right. Bob Seger or Kid Rock?
I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna go Bob Seger.
All right.
I'm clapping, but I'm pissed too. I really wanted to kick you off. I was hoping you'd say Kid Rock.
On that button.
I was ready to go. Because there was hesitation there, and there really shouldn't be. All right, moving on. We got movies in Detroit. Let's go, Chris. What do you got?
Yes. All right. So, man, I mean, these are two movies though that are all about the music. So this may be a tough one too, but here we go. 8 Mile or Detroit Rock City?
Oh my gosh, dude, I'm hating this show.
We're doing our job.
All right, you know what? It's funny because, like I said, my mom was a drummer, so I wanted Detroit Rock City. But for my childhood, I want to go with with 8 Mile. So, I can't answer this one.
Well, that was nice having her on the show because she's indecisive. Therefore, we can't have a guest that's indecisive. They got to bring their opinion.
Well, she did. To be fair, I mean, she reluctantly went a little.
She said she can't answer this one. I can't take the indecisiveness.
That's the first time we ever had someone be indecisive.
Fine.
Are you okay, Dani? Are you? So I mean, you got it's all on the line here. It's one of those end of the world scenarios, and you're allowed to you got your DVD player or Blu-ray player or whatever, and you can only keep one for the rest of the ages. You going with 8 Mile?
Yes, because it's part of my childhood. Yes.
I will say, I personally, I would pick 8 Mile too. And I know I said I'm not like a stan of Eminem, but I tell you, man, I love that movie. And I just realized it's been 20 years since that movie came out. And I wanted to see more acting from Eminem. Right? And he's never done anything. I was like, man, I was hoping to see him do some more stuff, but
yeah.
All right. Next one. This one's a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one. Now, this is a little twist here. We're still keeping it Detroit-related movies. All right. But we got either, RoboCop, which is Detroit-based, or Detroit native Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. I'm going to go with, it's hard to even say this. I'm going to go with Beverly Hills Cop. That was some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. RoboCop is kind of like a cheesy classic that, you just can't look away when it's on TV. You just got to sit there and watch it. But Eddie Murphy just had me dying in RoboCop. And Beverly Hills Cop. And there were so many memorable lines in that movie. Like, if you saw it just once, you would still remember some of those lines from the movie. Like, what?
Yo,
all for the banana in the tailpipe, right?
I
remember that one.
I had problems with this question, but I let it go. But Maz brings up a good point that most of it does not take place in Detroit, Chris. So therefore, your questioning is off base. I'm kicking both of you guys off the show. Maz, we're aligned right now. Please send in your resume to become a guest or a co-host for Comic Book. I can't do that to Chris.
Nope.
Sorry.
No, see, no. Ma's got it twisted. We're gonna have some funk here because y'all. This ain't about it being from Detroit, right? Actually, Axel Foley is a Detroit legend. That man can go wherever he wants to go, and it's still Detroit. Hear it.
Yo.
That's what's up. Hey, the truth though, you know what's funny is, you know, these I was like really young when both these movies came out. I remember, you know, going to the VA, you know, local family rental, you know, video spot, getting the VHS, and I remember renting RoboCop, right? And my parents turned it off. They said, "No, you ain't watching that."
Yeah.
But I remember being able to watch Beverly Hills Cop like 20 times.
Oh my gosh. Man. Actually, both of them had a lot of memorable lines too. I'm sitting here thinking about RoboCop and the stuff we used to say, you know, I'll buy that for $1. Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, we're hanging on this too long. One more question, and then 2 sports questions, and then
one more movie question. This is we're going director now. So we got 2 well-known directors that are Detroit natives. Jerry Bruckheimer, Top Gun, Bad Boys, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Rock, so much more. Or Francis Ford Coppola, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh man.
Jerry Bruckheimer, Francis
You
Ford
know,
Coppola.
I love a good action movie, but I also enjoy, you know, movies like The Godfather and Bram Stoker's. I love that movie. Oh, dude, you're gonna get me kicked off because this is.
well, here's the deal. We have never been a part of an interview that have been so close. Like the answers are just like, there's no wrong answer. Exactly, Tony Trombetta. There's no wrong answer
Here. There is a wrong answer here.
Oh.
Go for it. Again, Chris runs the interview.
No, Danny's got to answer.
No, Danny's got to answer. You're right.
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm gonna go with Jerry Bruckheimer.
Go! Get her up! Get her up! Come on, man! Look, here's the thing. Don't disrespect the Dawn. All right? That's my family biography right there. The Godfather, man. That's my family, man. We came over on the boats from Sicily, you know. Come on, man.
I couldn't say for sure either way. Anyways.
All right, look. I'm gonna tone it down. We can bring it
There's
back.
2 more sports questions. Just 2. We got to get to the show. Let's bring her in. By the way, Dan De La Torre thinks that we're treating her worse than anybody else on the show. That's not even true. Dan, you've been kicked off way more than Danny. Way more.
Here's the thing, Danny. I'm hurt. My Sicilian blood is like
Boiling,
circulating right now.
Yeah.
But I will say this. When you talk about action movies, nobody's done it better than Jerry Bruckheimer. I mean, Days of Thunder, Top Gun, Bad Boys, all those movies. It's like, you know, even you know, Michael Bay, a student of Bruckheimer who came up under him, has tried to do what he did, and it has never even came close. So I can't be mad at you.
All right.
All right.
I think Maz. I think Chris is referring to filmmaker in general, whether producer or director.
Right.
Because Bruckheimer did not direct Bad Boys. That was Michael Bay.
Under his production company, right? And that was that's what he did with Michael Bay, and that's why they were still good because of Jerry Bruckheimer's involvement.
Yeah.
So, okay. If you thought it was hard, it might be getting a little harder here. We're going to some sports. We're keeping it Detroit. So let's talk about the Lions. May have been a bad day for the Lions, but the Lions have some all-time greats. So, are we going with Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson?
It's Barry Sanders. I love me some Megatron, but it's Barry.
There was only one right answer there, by the way. It really was, and you got it. Okay, fair enough. All right, last question here.
Greatest running back of all time, if you ask me.
Yeah.
All right.
No doubt.
Let's go to some baseball. Some Detroit Tiger greats. Alan Trammell or Lou Whitaker?
Oh, geez, they were like hand in hand with each other. You know, shortstop, second baseman. How are you gonna say one or the other? They're packaged, man.
This might actually be the first answer where that might actually be the right answer. What do you think?
Me?
What do you think?
Yeah. And here's, I would say so. Wow. She's bringing something new to the show, which actually could get you in the Hall of Fame, but you're not there just yet. Chris.
One more question. This is a tough one. But we're
Dan is ripping us apart.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Here we go. I'm sweating because this is gonna be intense. All right, we're keeping it baseball. Justin Verlander, the possible 2022 Cy Young. Justin Verlander, obviously many great years with the Tigers.
Oh yeah.
Justin Verlander or Pablo Sandoval?
Oh man. You know what? I'm going to go with Verlander. And it's because of one game in particular is when we were playing the Yankees in the playoffs and it rained. Nobody gave us a chance against the Yankees, by the way. And of course, they were mad saying the rain helped us, but he dominated in that game. And for me, it was just like he became a Detroit legend just for shutting them down and shutting everybody up against the almighty Yankees. Oh, that game did it for me. It's Verlander for me.
I gotta ask. Was that a playoff game or a regular season game?
It was playoff.
It was playoffs. Was it a World Series? Was it a World Series game or a playoff game?
Was it? I don't think it was a World Series. I think it was just a playoff game. I think
it wouldn't be World Series. It was.
Yes. Justin Verlander.
Chris, what are you doing here? Because Pablo Sandoval ended up playing for the Giants, right?
Pablo Sandoval owns Verlander. Verlander wore a shirt saying, what did it say? Pablo Sandoval is my daddy.
Oh my God.
Game 4, 2012 World Series, down 0-3. I think it was game 2 actually. Pablo Sandoval hits 2 home runs off of Verlander, comes back up against their bullpen and hits a 3rd home run. Who's your daddy, Mr. Verlander? Pablo Sandoval. Game over.
Listen, here's the deal. She's getting a lot of love from the audience, and we're actually being threatened to cancel our show, saying that she's been one of the best guests. Jordan Nori, other than Dan De La Torre, which is like, what? Danny is my favorite
Cubs fan.
So I hate to say this, but Danny, congratulations. You're moving on as the guest co-host of the Cannon tonight. I hope, you did it.
Verlander was the right answer.
He did it.
He's going to win Cy Young again. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right?
I'm just a salty Giants fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did it. All right, congratulations, Danny. You are now a guest co-host. The Cannon is your show as much as it is ours. Feel free to even kick us off if need be. Now here's the deal. We're not going to get into Fresh from the Comic Shop right now. However, we need to figure something out here because we've had two voting sessions where the semifinalists have ended in a tie. We've never ended in a tie, let alone 2 times. 2 times. Would you look at this? Union Josh and Raising Elm tied after the revote. So, Chris, Danny, we are bringing in super lawyer from 1-800 call the best lawyer. I'm the best lawyer or something like that. That's your 7th or 8th choice because everybody else turned us down. Please welcome our lawyer that we don't even know the name of. We just got assigned to this 1-800. I'm the guy.
Is his name Saul Goodman?
Dan R. Shyster, attorney at law. Thank you, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Before we open court and begin our session here, a baseball comment. My hope for the World Series is the Philadelphia Phillies meet the Seattle Mariners.
I like that.
Why? Because they're both, 11 years for the Phillies. It's been probably longer for the Mariners. I don't know.
This never happened for the Mariners.
Yep.
But they've been in the playoffs before. Anyways, people are happy that you're here, Dan R. Shyster, because you're here for a specific reason. As you can see, again, 2 sessions of voting, and we ended up in ties. We have never ended up in a tie. We need to figure out this semifinal, and we need to figure it out tonight to move on to give away our September giveaway, which is this. It's just been hanging in the wind here. This beautiful, gorgeous Inferno variant, Mystique variant. We have to give it away, and it has to be this week. So, Mr. Shyster, you have a decision to help us make. And I don't know how you're doing this legally or what your plan is. I see a bunch of legal boxes behind you or comic book boxes. I'm not sure what they are, but tell us.
When the Comic Book Canon Corporation called me on Friday and told me about this, they called my office. I did tell them that I'm not just a lawyer, but I am an arbiter. So I am sort of like a minor judge, for those that don't know. So I am legally authorized to make a decision on this particular case. I've looked at both plaintiffs, the Union Joss Comics, the Fantastic 430, and Raising Elm Comics, Star Wars #2. Now, to put my bias aside, I'm a huge Gene Roddenberry Star Trek fan, for one, and any Marvel Silver Age comic normally it's hands down. However, I did look at the legal parameters and the bylaws of the Comic Book Canon show, and according to your bylaws, one of the elements is background, and by far the Star Wars 2 book has that background. My ruling is for Raising Elm Comics for Star Wars 2. Case dismissed.
Wow, he had the gavel. Raising Elm Comics, you're moving on to the finals against, I cannot remember who, but we're going to get it going this week. It's been so long. Mr. Shyster, do we owe you any fees here? How does this work?
Just wait till you see the bill. No, we'll talk.
Anyways. Well, sorry. Thank you again, Mr. Shyster. We really appreciate you being here and helping us.
Of course. And by the way, I must say this guest you have you should keep her on a permanent basis. She's outstanding and sharp. You know what? Call my office. I might have a job for you as a legal consultant.
Oh, great.
She's good. She's good. Don't ever lose this lady.
All right.
Take care, gentlemen.
Thank you, Shyster, everybody. Thank you. We are done. We're moving on right there. All right. Danny, we're moving on to another segment right here, and it's one we do each and every week. It's fun. It's relatively new. It's called it's called props or flops. Explain it, because I'm tongue-tied right now, Chris. Go for it.
All right, guys. The new and improved props or flops. This is where you all, the community, get to participate in another segment on Comic Book Canon. All you guys got to do is upload any comic book to Instagram. All right. This comic book should be a comic book that maybe you just purchased, or maybe that you're in the market to purchase. It's something that you're speculating on, something that you're looking to purchase as an investment. Post the picture up on IG. Talk about it. If you just purchased it, maybe say, I just picked this up for X amount of dollars because of this, this, and that. Maybe they're coming out in a movie, or maybe you think they're going to show up in the MCU. I just paid this much. What do you think, guys? Chris, Comic Book Canon, what do you think? Props or flops? Did I make a good investment decision? When you post them, make sure you use the hashtag props or flops. You also want to tag me, Journos Comics, and also tag Comic Book Canon. All right, we will break it down on the break the market down for you live on our show. Of course, we can't pick every book every week, but we like to pick specifically 3. Could be even more at some point in time in the future, but we got 3 today that we're gonna go over some awesome submissions, and I highly recommend all you guys this coming week for our next week's show. Let's get some submissions in, and we can show you a book off and break down the market.
And we want to hear from you in the audience too, props or flops on these specific books. So please let us know. All right, let's get to it. Chris, you have an order in here and I cannot see on the thumbnail which is what. So I'm going to do my best. Here we go.
Let's go with how about some Star Wars action?
Got it. Boom.
All right, here we go. We got an awesome, look at this, CBCS, a 9.2 Star Wars #1, the Volume 1 Marvel run. That's a beauty right there for sure. So this is from Newman. I think it's Newman's Own Cards. That's what I believe is going on here with the handle. If I say that wrong, I apologize. Grail acquired. Star Wars #1. Had to pick this up to wrap up my chase to complete Star Wars issues number 1 through 10 in a 9.0 or better. First off, I like that goal. That's pretty awesome. Paid $413 for it. I think after CPR, it has the potential to yield a 9.4 to 9.6. I zoomed in on this picture, and although you can't really tell what pictures, it looks clean. I mean, I didn't see any color breaking spine ticks in that spine. Top right corner might be a little blended. I don't know about a 9.6 just looking at the picture, but it definitely looks like there could be room for improvement. But going on here, they further state, didn't foresee it happening this soon, but here we are, happy to have done a deal with Shortboxed at Rose City Comic Con. Excited to get this cracked, pressed, and clean. Fair enough price for a proper CPR treatment, considering the case was cracked already. Ooh, so the book had the case had a crack in it. Already handed this over to Under Pressure Comics. I believe they're probably doing the pressing, hence Under Pressure Comics. That's a very, I like that name for a pressing company, by the way. So, props or flops? I'm not going to beat around this bush, guys. It would be very hard to give this book a props. But one thing that you have to consider here, being that it's known, we have a price point, okay? So I know what they paid. So say, for example, hey, I just bought this and I paid $3,000 for it. Props or flops? That's a flops all the way, because I'm sorry, even though it's Star Wars #1, in a 9.2 even, it's not worth $3,000 yet. So looking at what they paid for it, definitely under the fair market value, the average fair market value of a graded 9.2. Now, of course, that fair market value is heavily based on CGC 9.2s. And we all should know, or most of us know, that CGC tends to get slightly higher pull in price point when it comes to graded comics than CBCS. But another thing that you need to take into consideration here is that the case is cracked. So I'm sure that price point, took that into consideration, and that's why he got such a good deal. This book hovering around, over $500, fair market value 9.2. You also got to consider the fact that this individual might get at least one grade bump by pressing and cleaning this book. So I think overall, this is absolutely a props. I mean, it's even if they were just buying it cracked the way it is and they were keeping it in that case, I would still give it a props for $413. And the reason why is because this is a long-term investment. This, in my humble opinion, is a blue chip key of the future. And you can quite honestly argue that it's a blue chip key right now, but it's a book that didn't get a lot of love that it deserved for a very long time. It's definitely been getting that love on the market for the last few years or so. This is a book that's going to continue to increase in value. It doesn't matter what the Star Wars shows do, if there's any more Star Wars movies. For what he did, what he paid for this book, big, huge props all the way.
Yeah, I'll take it next real quick. I think it's props. This book is history, right? It's historic in a way, and I'm not talking some monumental historic thing, but it is part of a pop sensation that took over how things are done in terms of blockbusters, in terms of toys, in terms of other media, and this kind of exemplifies that. And I'm saying props as well, but I love what Maz says here. I really do. This is a cool key, but I don't see it really taking off. I feel the best keys from Star Wars will be new standout characters. Is there anything new left in this book? That's a really good point, because I do think But I do think there's going to be a lot of stock taken from these new books, the High Republic, what they're going to be doing with those films.
I do. I agree there.
I don't. I still think that this thing will continue to rise. But I just like what he's saying here. Dani, you have a. Would you like to kind of chime in on this book?
I say props as well. I didn't know the FMV was, above 500. So to get it, way below FMV, plus it's the start of it all. Even though it's nothing new in it, it's where it began. So I still think it's a props just because, like you said, it's history. And if you want to go back to the beginning, that's the book you need.
Okay, so we're all agreeing here. It's props. Chris, you wanted to comment on Maz here.
Yeah, and I know Maz don't, we love to do this. We love getting different points of views and opinions. So when I do this, please don't take it as anything negative. This is great. I love when we have opposing viewpoints. Maz makes a great point. There is so much stock, especially if you look at it like penny stocks that have a bright future, right? I think you can look at what he's talking about as these new kids on the market, penny stocks, so to say, that have a lot of room for growth. But you're looking at it specifically from a live action spec perception or a spec value. This book, and this is where we lose sight. Comic books are valuable collectibles without MCU spec or live action spec or option spec, and they've been that way for decades. This idea of live action properties specking on comic books due to them and pairing those up is very, very new. This is the first time that we get Star Wars, the brand, the trademark, the characters, the original storyline in a comic book. Therefore, and you got to look at the age of the book. It is a Bronze Age book. This book is 45 years old, and it's going to continue aging. This book will absolutely outlast, and in my humble opinion, outprice even books today that are still hitting, like Clone Wars, first appearance of Ahsoka, like all of the first appearance of Dr. Aphra. Those will not hold the weight. Those all will hold weight, but that's a bigger conversation. That's a whole Star Wars conversation in and of itself, because there's a lot of value to be had there. But this book, this is where it started it all. Come back in 10 years and let's look at the value of this book, and we can revisit this conversation. I stand behind this book hands down. This is the blue chip key of Star Wars books.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're all agreeing here. It's props in terms of the show, the hosts here. Love again the conversation we're having. Let's keep this going because we have another book for props or flops. What is it, Chris?
All right. Which way are we going? Let's do some. How about some Spider-Man? And not Peter Parker Spider-Man, but Miles Morales. We got Spider-Man number 12 here, the Bocelli variant. This book is awesome. Well, I'll just read what Jacob Comics says here. This is Jacob Comics submission. I don't know, is Jacob here tonight? If he is,
I saw him here. He's definitely
here.
Around here. Not sure if he's still here.
All right. Jacob says, props or flops, Spider-Man number 12 from March of 2017. I think this book is destined to be sought after by collectors. An amazing cover by Sarah Pacelli, story by Brian Michael Bendis, an homage to the Raimi Spider-Man scene, the upside down kiss, obviously. And we all know these two are destined to hook up on the big screen, possibly this year. Oh, that would be awesome, right? All right. Great cover. Great depiction in terms of the homage from the original Sam Raimi film. I think this is a great book to have, especially variants. I personally don't collect a lot of variants. I don't pay over cover price for variants. This is definitely one that stands out for me. It is, or has been, selling for over $300. It was selling for over $300 when the Across the Spider-Verse trailer dropped. I believe it dropped this last spring, somewhere around there. Now, over the last couple of months, and again, this is for a 9.8. Obviously, it's CGC 9.8. The last couple of months, it hasn't even hit over. It can't even hit 200. Raw, it hasn't been moving very many units at all. I mean, there's some sporadically, But again, when the trailer dropped last spring going into the summer, I mean, you saw a plethora of these books being sold, a decent amount, you know, day to day, eBay, my comic shop, until they sold out. And pricing there topped around $40 to $50. Right now, you still see some, you know, the high grade raws that are looking, you know, buyers are looking at 9.8 potentials. They're still hitting around $40. So that hasn't dropped as much as the 9.8. Now, I agree with what Jacob's saying here. Just what the cover homages, you know, right? And the fact that there is speculation on what's going to happen in this upcoming Spider-Verse film. We know what the first one did to Miles Morales. It really helped bring his character to the forefront, introduce it to new audiences. I think this sequel is going to continue that. I think it's going to bring all of those that love Miles before back into the theaters, and they're going to come out loving him even more. I think it's going to bring even, I mean, what has it been? Four years, right? And it's going to be another year, right, before this movie comes out. I mean, you're going to have little 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds that probably weren't even old enough 4 to 5 years ago when the first one came out, and they're going to be introduced to this, and they're going to be loving it. People are going to be coming back to the comic books. I know this, but props or flops on this specific book. I don't have the price that Jacob paid. I don't know if Jacob had this raw and sent it into CGC himself and just paid the fees and he got a 9.8 out of it. But specifically speaking, if you were to buy this in a 9.8 right now, I'd give it a flops. Simply because the market right now, especially with the economy, is a bit volatile. And nobody is looking at this book. And it would be very easy to overpay. Okay? But here's the silver lining here. I'm giving it flops just from this perspective. So everyone here is cautious if they're in the market of this book. I had it raw and I'm in it for $30. So right there, I would give it a props. So you see how it changes, guys. But again, let's you know, I still want to keep, I'm not changing my tone, right? I would not touch this book in a 9.8 right now for even what it's going right now in a 9.8. What I would do personally, this is just me, I would probably go try to find some for probably around that $30 mark and maybe buy a couple raw. And Jeff, you know, and Dani, I do talk about this constantly on this show. I am just somebody that doesn't go out and buy 9.8s because of a lot of different factors, especially with modern books. But I will say this, Jacob, the flops is simply to give you guys all a fair warning to take heed and to be cautious with this book. But and simply too, guys, I don't, as a Miles book, I don't necessarily think this is ever going to be an extremely valuable book. But here's the silver lining in this, especially for Jacob being in it for 30 and then going and getting it pressed up and getting a 9.8. If they do, to Jacob's point, if they hook up in that movie, if they do, yeah, he could go sell this book at a 9.8 and probably get that 300 or more that it was selling for at the trailer, but it probably won't last. It'll cool off again, so you got to play the market correctly.
Dani, your thoughts?
So I'm biased because Miles is one of my favorite characters, so I'm going to give any Miles book a props. That's just how I am. I'm a big fan, but I agree. You know, I'm going to give it a props, but I think, like you said, it's not going to hold. I think it would be just boom, okay, that moment happened, and then it'll probably just, you know, plateau from there. I don't think it's going to one that keeps going up and up, but I still give it a props because it's Miles.
Yeah, I'll give it a props too, especially he paid $30, or he's all in for $30, including, I guess, the grading. And completely agree with you guys in terms of it'll spike and then it'll come back down hard, right? If this does happen on screen, if it does happen in the MCU, you see that a lot with a variety of characters in the MCU, where people are all in, and all of a sudden it just goes flat. So I'll agree with that too. But overall, I'll give it a props, especially with what Jacob specifically spent on it and where it's at now.
Yep. And I want to use this as an example, and thank you, Jacob, for adding that context. This dynamic, and if you look at all three of our opinions, it really shows you guys watching that this idea of props or flops, it really is all about timing and the purchasing decisions that you're making. It's not just simply, is this book a props or a flops?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about how you guys are, you know, playing the game in the market, on the marketplace, and if you're being smart about your purchasing decisions, and those things are always very important.
Absolutely. All right, one more book this week. What do we got, Chris?
All right.
I like this one.
Yeah. This is it. This is going to be an interesting one to talk about. We got some fantastic 4 action, folks, from Raising Elm. Raising Elm, one of our semifinalists from Fresh from the Comic Shop for the month of September. All right, Raising Elm says this about Fantastic Four 265. Now that She-Hulk has joined the MCU with their own show, some of her key issues could and should start picking up heat. For this week's submission, I give you Fantastic Four issue 265, which is key because that's when She-Hulk joins the Fantastic Four after the Thing quits. We already know the Fantastic Four is coming, and rumors have surfaced that the Thing may cameo on the show. Could Ben Grimm make his debut via incarceration, causing Jennifer Walters to fill in for him on the Fantastic Four? We know Kevin Feige wants to do Marvel's first Family Justice, so why not do something a little different than the previous 2 versions? I don't yet own a copy, but you could still find this book raw and graded for under $100. Thoughts? Wow. All right, well, I thought that looking at the Pacelli variant for Miles and Gwen was one that is very much all about like timing and price point. This one is even more like that. And this is a tough one because, again, Raising Elm brings up a lot of good key factors. She-Hulk could absolutely join the Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige likes to do things differently, especially with these Fox properties that we've seen before. I simply don't have the answer. The purist in me wants to believe that there's no way they can go that route and really introduce a Fantastic Four and one of the 4 members be She-Hulk. I just can't see that happening. First family and all that. But we know how Kevin Feige likes to shake things up. Oh, my goodness. How do we do this? I'm going to do, I guess, and Jeff, you're probably going to hate me, but I'm going to kind of break the rules again, and I'm going to look at this from 2 ways, okay? Again, and it's going to be similar to what I said about the Miles book. Buying this book graded is a flops all day long for me. All day long. Flops all day long, buying it graded. I don't care what grade. You know, of course, unless somebody's selling a 9.8 for freaking $30. You guys know what I'm saying here when I say graded books flops. This book isn't even, I mean, there's not even anybody looking at it because there was like one graded sale of a 9.8 in the last 5 years of this book. That's a fact. You guys can go look. At least online. There's not enough here for me to say that this is a book I'm going to spend. Oh, and by the way, that 9.8 it did sell for over $100. I think it was like 170 or something like that. I'm not doing it. I'm not spending $80 on a 9.8. I'm not spending $70 on a 9.8. I'm not even spending $50 on a 9.8 of this book. There is a lot going on for the She-Hulk character, but there's also a lot of controversy. Now, whether you agree with the controversy or not, it's there. A plus side is this: we could get She-Hulk outside of her own show, and we could get a completely different vibe of She-Hulk if she's in an Avengers movie or if she's in a Fantastic Four movie. You know, because I think this show is a sitcom. It's marketed to a different, you know, type of fan, and that's okay. We see how personalities can change up. You know, I think we saw that with Guardians. You know, they took a different tone when they were with the Russo brothers, although they still had their grounded essence in what they were in their own films. Spider-Man, you know, he takes a different tone in his original trilogy next to, you know, hanging out with the Avengers and facing more serious threats. All of these are positives where people could come and look at this book, but this book isn't going to do absolutely anything unless we do indeed see She-Hulk becoming a member of the Fantastic Four. So the only way, I'm really giving this book flops all the way around. The only way I won't give it flops, and the only way I will give a raw book flops, is if you're finding these books in the back issue bins for $3 and under. And that's the only way, because there's no real risk involved. And even if something happens with her joining Fantastic Four and it does this and it fades out, at least then you got a couple copies, you could flip it, make a little money. But other than that, I can't invest anything into this book.
Dani.
Yeah, it's a flop for me as well. I personally wouldn't invest in it. And it's mainly because of the way the show has been received. Now, I actually am a fan of the show. I laugh a lot and I enjoy it. But like you said, with the controversy, for me, it's just the way it's been received by a lot of people. Even if she did join the Fantastic Four, you know, I just don't see that this is a book that would just take off. And it's just because of the way it started. Now, maybe they can change it up. Maybe she'll grow in the MCU. Maybe it'll do better. But even still with that, I just don't think it's a book that would just explode at any point.
I'll agree with it not exploding. I would say it's a prop with a asterisk. Like I get it for, you know, I think I got this for $5 in the, you know, back issue bin, and I was all over it because first of all, I love John Byrne. Second of all, I mean, if you think about it, the Fantastic Four were the Fantastic Four for so long, and then She-Hulk joined, and that's just crazy. However, that playing out in the MCU at the get-go is highly unlikely. You gotta honor what the Fantastic Four are, the first family of Marvel, and you got to bring in all the original characters the way they are. I've never heard any rumor about Ben Grimm showing up in the She-Hulk series. Do we have one more episode left? Yeah, one more, right?
One, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard that. Not to say it couldn't happen, but I really think they are going to do things right with how piss poor all of those Fantastic Four movies were. All of them. There was nothing redeemed. There was nothing good about any of them, in my opinion. So,
Silver Surfer
was
Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay, but then Galactus, you know?
Horrible.
Yeah, so there you go. But I would give this book a props just for its historic significance alone, because she's always going to be associated with the Fantastic Four. She's always going to be associated with the Avengers. She will be a mainstay in the MCU. This is not the I love the series as well. I think it's great. It's refreshing. And I think more people love it than hate it. And I think she's a mainstay in the MCU. She's already got, you know, I'm sure they've already planned the next 5 appearances after her series, whether it be season 2 or they're talking New World Order. So anyways, I'll give it a props. And you guys are both giving it a flops. So this is our only disagreement. You guys outweigh me, and I'll just...
It's not that serious.
You're right. It's,
Jeff,
it's
I want to add one more thing, though.
Go for it.
It's very interesting with what you said, because I would actually value this more for those intrinsic factors than MCU spec.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's you know what John Byrne was doing with the run, like you said, the changing up of the Fantastic Four, and that it's an early Copper Age book, like, and as it ages out, I think those things will. And again, not to say that it's going to ever be something, but I see it maybe going from a $5, $7, maybe 10, and hey, maybe one day $20 book, because of those reasons. As collectors, looking at those instead of MCU spec factor. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. We'll end it on this. P. Keel. I'd buy the book, but it better be cheaper than my Saturday Night Girlfriend. I don't know where you're taking your Saturday Night Girlfriend, but geez, oh my gosh, I don't even want to know. All right. And there you have it. Props or flops. We'll have 3 new books next week. Don't you forget, Chris, let's just remind everybody how they get involved with props or flops, shall we?
guys, one more time, whether it's something you just picked up, you're thinking about picking up, upload any comic to IG, use the hashtag props or flops. And because IG's hashtags are crap, make sure you
really are. They really are.
Make sure you at me, journos_comics. Make sure you at Comic Book Canon. Tell us why the book interests you. We'll break down the market live on our show.
We got a good one for next week. Maz has sent one in. I'm digging that one. So I'm excited to talk about that, especially with all the goings on with Werewolf by Night. Real quick, Dani, did you watch Werewolf by Night?
I did.
Quick thoughts. You weren't part of the quick review, so you are a guest co-host. You're entitled.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. The black and white didn't even bother me. I thought that, oh gosh, am I going to want to watch this? It's all in black and white. But I thought that it gave the exact vibe that it needed to by being in black and white. Mm-hmm. I don't think color would have worked for it personally. I know what they did at the end and stuff, but the characters. Now I'm not up on like Elsa Bloodstone as far as how she is portrayed in the comics. So I heard her attitude is a little differently portrayed in Werewolf by Night. But just for me, seeing her in that, I enjoyed her character, Jack and Man-Thing. I thought they all did it well, and that the story itself, it's a little contained feature. Yeah. I thought it nailed what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Like it reminds you of one of those, kind of creature features from back in the day. So, and that's exactly, I think, what they were going for. And I think they nailed it.
I hit the mark. I thought, again, the tone, everything about it, just the homage to, those horror movies back, way back in the day before we were born. So good stuff. I'd love to see them do more of that. Speaking of doing more of cool things, I guess, Chris, we do a segment each and every week where people can win prizes. What is it called?
Man, super duper, super fresh from the comic shop.
Fly from the press and salon. That's right. We ask you, the viewers, each and every week to send in your fresh gets. They could be 2 days old. They could be 30 years old. As long as they're fresh in your collection, we want to see them. You upload it to Instagram. You use the hashtag FFTCS, and automatically you're submitting to possibly win an amazing EGS slab. That's right. This is the September one that we're going to have our finals go head-to-head for, and we are about to unveil our October one.
This is exciting.
This one is awesome, and it's in the new case.
Yep.
That's right. Umbrella 25, the Joker Harley homage. Wow. Look at that. That thing is gorgeous. 9.8 custom labels. Chris, tell us all about EGS Comics. Why don't you?
Yeah, guys. So first and foremost, for anybody interested in getting some comics graded and you want to think about trying EGS, go check out their website. Their link is below. You can use the code CANON5 to get 5% off of your order. And again, optional custom labels, free grader notes, no matter the grade, fast turnaround times, and of course, brand new cases. I am so excited to get my hands. I got an order that I've been waiting on for these new cases. I can't wait to do a video on them. EGScomicsgrading.com. Check them out. But, Jeff, we also got to remind everyone how they can win the monthly EGS slab. You don't just get to enter your fresh gets and automatically get entered to win the slab. There are things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. 1, subscribe to EGS on YouTube. Link below. Follow EGS on Instagram. Link below. Then you can submit your fresh gets.
And keep in mind, we have 3 criteria that our judges, aka the guest co-hosts, they judge on. That's presentation, get artistic with the composition of the shot. Have it tie in. We see a lot of that. Raising Elm does a great job of that, and he is a finalist for that September slab. Unique. How unique is the book? It doesn't have to be $100,000 to be unique. It could be something we've never seen or heard of before. We see that with a lot of dollar bin books. And finally, the story. What does this book mean to you, your family, anybody else that has made an impact on your life? This could be a book you pulled off the spinner rack as your first book you ever collected, and you lost it in a move, or it got washed away in a flood or something like that. Unfortunate, but you built, you saved and bought that book again because it meant so much to you. Those are the things we want. Pull at our heartstrings. That'll take you very far in life. We had a few questions here, actually. Oh, real quick. Dan De La Torre wants to know if Dani, if you're from the Bay Area, you mentioned creature features. We went over this, and she's not.
I think you missed the interview.
Yeah. And he wonders why we kick him off. God. Evening, Brian. How are you? All right, let's move. Sorry, Dan. We love you. You know that. That's the only reason we make fun of you. And you're also not here to make fun of us. So there we go. Moving on. Here we go. First, fresh from the comic shop of the week is from Goonish Lurker. One of my favorite shops obtained a collection of heavy metal. I was able to snag this issue from June 1980. Not only an iconic cover, but features a gallery by the one and only H.R. Geiger, as well as the Bernie Wrightson story, Captain Stern, featuring Hanover Fist. Seen in the original heavy metal movie. This submission is for the horror lovers on the canon. Hope you all enjoy. We definitely do. That's a unique book, I'd have to say, Chris. We don't see many heavy metal submissions at all. Keep that in mind, Dani. Keep that in mind.
I watched that movie when I was way too young to watch it. So.
Oh, we all did. We all did. It was like a cartoon. We're like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. And you're like, wait a minute, this isn't like any cartoon I've ever seen. We have an accomplishment here from the Bearded 189. I did it, guys. I completed the Behemoth. 196 issues plus annuals on the run of Wolverine Volume 2. This hunt took me nearly a decade to do it my way, and I feel such satisfaction getting to this run before the MCU hype came running to these books. I have to submit this accomplishment to Comic Book Canon fresh from the comic shop. We're glad you did, Bearded One. That is great. Good story right there, everybody. That is a good story. Moving on, we got Into Oblivion with Moon Knight #1, the 1980 Facts Smile edition. I always have a problem with that words, Dani. Facsimile edition, Walmart exclusive variant from 2022. Beautiful wraparound cover, art by Monge.
Fax machine edition, Jeff.
I know, man. I'm awful. We'll just divert that away from me. Dani, your first fresh get of the week. What do you got?
All right.
Stop laughing, Chris. Oop, I just kicked her off. Stop laughing, Chris.
My first one is Ironheart issue 6.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the future of the MCU, Miles and Riri. But this issue is kind of considered their first team up outside of, being teammates on the Champions. This is where them two work together for the first time and actually become friends.
Yeah, I love that book for a couple of reasons. I mean, Riri is definitely going to be making an impact in the MCU. I mean, for obvious reasons. She's in the Black Panther next month. She's in her own series. So the fact that's the first meeting of her and Miles, talk about props or flops. That's a props. Look what happened with Shuri and the first meeting of Riri as well. So
what issue number was that?
Well, this is number 6. It's kind of their first team up. So they were already on the Champions together, but they kind of weren't getting along. So this is kind of where they actually become friends and they team up, just the two of them.
Nice. So I think that has, you did clear that up for me. I didn't realize that with the Champions, but I still think that does have potential, especially the one-on-one interaction going on there. So
yeah,
collectors love that stuff. All right, moving on. We got Spider Dude 71. Bamf is like Nightcrawler, isn't it? Bamf. Take a look at these beauties, 154 and 155. The 155 is signed by Layfield, but still needs to be verified. Look at that 154. That's an awesome cover as well. Fresh from the comic shop. Good stuff. I guess the Bearded One has those issues as well. Moving on, we got Mike Hagg's 77. I'm rocking with this Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage set. 301 I had since I was a kid. The others I scooped at New York Comic-Con. Venom issue 4, Mike Mayhew, Venom version issue 1, and Comic-Con 198 out of 200 foil cover. That thing is beautiful, by the way, the one in the middle. My first time at a Comic-Con, it was a blast for sure. I like what he's got here. That is fun, especially the book that he picked up when he was a kid. And I've been to a couple Comic-Cons. I don't need to go back ever again. Chris, what is your first fresh get of the week?
All right, I have a theme going on here. I know we got a couple more weeks until Halloween, but coming off the Werewolf by Night special, my 3 picks are spooky Halloween October themes. So.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. All right, first up, had to do it. Werewolf by Night number 28. So just some awesome classic. Volume 1, Werewolf by Night. And look, like I was saying earlier, I got this a nasty bag. I mean, that looks like what we saw on screen, right? Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not telling people they should be happy, but they should pretty much be happy. It was a great rendition. Like, it really was. And I'm loving these old school kind of Werewolf by Nights. Some people may be mad because it's not the new iteration or the new Werewolf by Night. What is that dude's name? Jake Gomez. But anyways, it was great. It was absolutely great. I'm not going to say it anymore, but I probably will. Moving on, we got Fat Dad Comics 81. Fat Dad has a couple of salacious J. Scott Campbell covers picked up at New York Comic-Con. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2. Volume 2 to current is now complete. That's a big accomplishment as well. He had 2 submissions here. We can only go with 1, but that is a kind of a well sought after cover by J. Scott Campbell for a few reasons. Moving on, we got Lindsay B with a variant herself. Lucky enough to make a stop at Captain Comics this past weekend and pick up this beauty. Another to add to the Wanda wall. Love this cover. That's a very cool cover. No doubt about that. Speaking of cool cover,
Momoko, huh?
I don't think that's a Momoko. Is it?
It is.
Looks like it.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
That's Momoko at her finest, man. That's a good one.
It really is, actually. I don't have my monitor is quite small because I can't figure out how to get the mic working. Anyways, long story. Nobody cares. But speaking of cool covers, I love this cover. This is She-Hulk number 1, the Charles Soule. I think it's from what year? I can't remember.
2014.
2014, yes. I love this cover. I love this run. And again, I'm enjoying the She-Hulk show, guys. So that's all I got to say about that.
Last episode was awesome.
It was. I mean, awesome. It was. It really was. Danny, you're all caught up, right?
Yeah.
By far, that last episode was the best.
Yeah.
Moving on to our finalist now from last month, Raising Elm Comics. We got. Why don't I have it written here? Oh, there it is. Happy Sunday to you all. For this week's submission, I give you my recent pickup of Amazing Spider-Man number 135. Like the 8 legs of a spider, this book has 8 things going for it. 1, it's Spider-Man. 2, an MVS of the Thing inside. 3, artwork by John Romita Sr. 4, written by Jerry Conway. 5, it's a very affordable key issue on a budget. Amazing Spider-Man 129 is a bit much for me right now. 6, it's the second appearance of the Punisher for some. Chris, you have some words about that. 7, it's a third appearance of the Punisher for others. 8, and come on, the Punisher will join the MCU. I love the character long before the MCU was around, so I'm stoked to have this book in the PC piece. It's also a classic cover. I really love that cover a lot. Danny, what's your second fresh get of the week? What do you got?
So I got what is this? Miles Morales Spider-Man 8. And this is, a lot of people complain about Miles not having his own road gallery. Well, this is the first appearance of one of them, which is the Assessor. So, plus the cover is just awesome. You can see New York City through Miles.
It's such a great cover.
It's a fantastic cover, but, it's the first appearance of one of his original villains, that Ahmed gave us. And, if Miles goes the distance in the MCU, we could see some of his original rogues start to appear. So
I would hope for that. I think a majority of people would hope for that as well. Yeah, and absolutely a badass cover, no doubt about.
Who's that artist?
Who did the cover on this one? Let's see. Wow, this slab, I hate when they do the okay, so it says Patrick O'Keefe did the cover.
Not familiar, but
no, either one.
I mean, it's so like simple, but it speaks.
Yeah,
it almost reminds me of the Nas's covers, when he did
the details of the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's is fantastic.
That's definitely a nice touch right there. All right, moving on. We got Nori Jordan. Let me just warn you, Danny. Nori Jordan loves his Thunderbolts. Loves Thunderbolts, and majority of the time it's revolved around that. This week was another good one for books. I picked up Thunderbolts #2 covers. I picked up all Thunderbolts #2 covers from the new series, a variant cover from Volume 3 I needed, and a Dark Avengers variant cover paying respect to Bullseye. In addition, I picked up a third copy of Thunderbolts Prelude, which is a rare book. Then I picked up a Thunderbolts second print, CGC 9.4 for $30. Not as cool as last week's 9.8, but still a great score. My favorite edition is my Daredevil #9. CGC 9.8 appearance of Echo. I had a 9.2, but had to sell a while ago. But thanks to the drop in prices, was able to replace it with a better copy at a great price. On to the next week, which will be another good one as long as the mail shows up. Take care, everyone. As we said, he likes Thunderbolts and he loves Bullseye as well. Chris, your second fresh get of the week. What do you got?
All right, keeping the theme. Spooky. Moon Knight #2.
Nice.
I don't think people should, not like it's a key or anything, but
it's such a great cover though.
Yeah, it is, and it comes after one. So hey,
2 usually comes after 1 most of the time.
You don't see too many people showing up #2. So there it is, Moon Knight #2. You about to get whacked.
Love it. Love it. All right, moving on. We got Word Bubble Collect. Next Halloween cover up. My favorite cover of all, from any title, any publisher, any artist. This book will never be worth half of what it costs to grade it, but this one speaks to me. I remember buying this off the rack at the Giant grocery store in my neighborhood. Oh, and Giant was the name of the store, not the size. Probably why they renamed them Tiny Giants. I had to use my Robotron money. I didn't even hesitate. So he lost this book because I had to clarify if this was a fresh from the comic shop. He lost this book and he found it again. So obviously this book means a lot to him because Word Bubble says this is his favorite cover of all time by any publisher, any artist, anything. So that's a nice story that we do want to hear right there. All right, guys, my second fresh get of the week is not my favorite cover of all time, but I like this. This is the first team up of the Hulk and She-Hulk. They never teamed up in Savage She-Hulk #1. It was just a blood transfusion. This is their first team up. Hulk 282. So yeah, that's a little bit of history too. You can find those cheap in the back bins. They've already interacted in the MCU.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys, don't know where Hulk is these days yet, do we? That'll be interesting. Hopefully we find out soon.
Interesting.
All right, moving on. We got Jacob Comic. Finally got my hands on one of the top 10 books I really wanted in my PC. I'm so proud to finally own this beautiful copy of Secret Wars #8. Words cannot describe how iconic this cover is to me, and I can't wait for Tom Holland to don the infamous black suit. Oh, it's only a matter of time, everybody. Like what he did with the setup here, though. Jacob Comics, that is a nice little setup going on there. All right, Danny, your last fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Last one is Uncanny X-Men 268.
Woo! Jim Lee!
Yeah, I've been, I wanted to get this book raw because I wanted to send it into the Jim Lee signing. But I couldn't find one in a high enough grade raw. I just gave in. The signing had passed, and I just went ahead and purchased the slab. So
that is quite excellent, I have to say. By the way, speaking of Raising Elm, just want to let you know, Raising Elm, you are in the finals for September. We finally got it done. I also want to warn everybody, my Mac is about to die, and if I try to put power to it, you're not going to be able to hear me. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. So we're going to just try and jam through this quickly and end the show because I don't want it to just go out. Giving you all a heads up. Next up, we have 360 Comics, a.k.a. Joe. Another addition to the Batman PC run. 1951's Batman issue 66 probably has the best entry of any book on Key Collector. Seriously, go look it up. And I did, everybody. I did. And what it says in Key Collector, it says, Joker repeatedly uses the word boner throughout this story. Panels show up on social media posts. Did not know that. That right there is unique. I don't know any other comic book that mentions boner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Chris, your third fresh get of the week. What do you got?
All right, guys. Hide the children. No, I mean it's all good. At least the covers.
Boner?
This is all from a collection I purchased. So I thought this was very interesting. Spooky theme. Still, this is a dark fantasy production. Never heard of it. Donna Mia #1. It is a mature readers. Don't worry, it's not, showing anything on the cover, but I thought this cover was freaking awesome. And like she's there like with demon wings, and she's like, I guess I don't know if these are her victims, but really crazy stuff going on. Really, really spooky, blood, demons, skeletons. And I think they got this thing of blood that's like coming down in its foil. So I don't know what it is, but I thought it was cool to show off for my spooky theme.
It's definitely spooky and it creeps me out. No doubt about that. That's all I have to say. We got to move on before my computer dies. Finally, last submission. We have Mark Leneker. This guy always dishes the goodness, the comic history goodness. All-American Comics number 67 from August of 1945. G.A. Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and Dr. Midnight. This was one of the issues that used the All-American Publication identifier and not DC Comics. Co-publisher Max Gaines stamped his books that way in the final months before he sold his share of the company to National Allied Publications, thereby creating a unified DC Comics line. Gaines used the proceeds to create EC. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating. And guys, my last fresh get of the week is the same one you're not me. It's the same one I used last week. It's just another self-promotion. My daughter made her own comic book. Fantastic.
Yes.
It is Sally Sopan's Sally Sopan's and Lion Girl, Mystery of Captain Cold Hands. She will be signing these books next Saturday at my local comic shop with the creator of My Little Pony right next to her. I cannot.
Freaking awesome, man.
I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. I hope we get the books. I ordered 15 books. I hope we get them delivered on time before Saturday. We have a backup plan if not, but I am so psyched for that. I am so psyched. We're more excited than she is. So that's all I have to say. It's good stuff. All right. So, Dani, I have 8% left in the computer, and you have a decision to make. Who is the semifinalist, the second semifinalist of October? Who will be moving on to these semifinals?
Okay, so there were a few that stood out for me.
Do tell.
One, the accomplishment behind the Wolverine collection. I thought that was awesome.
Bearded one. Yep.
That one stood out for me. The Raising Elm book.
Yeah, I mean he kills it every time.
Yeah, that cover is absolute fire.
Mm-hmm.
Word Bubbles cover actually stood out for me as well.
Word Bubble, yep.
And the story behind that they're passionate about it. Favorite cover of all time, and 360 Comics. And it's not because of the boner thing, which is good. It's also this cover. He's a totem, and that's just crazy. So those are the four that stood out for me. But if I can only choose one,
you can.
It is going to be 360 Comics.
360, aka Joe, you are moving on. even though I think you've won recently, we'll have to check into that. You are moving on to the semifinals against last week's semifinalist. Hey, again, this is going to be brief. We don't normally do this, but Dani, you've been an excellent guest. Like, we're talking Hall of Fame level. You are now eligible to receive the Comic Book Canon varsity jacket that we will never produce. You've made it that far. But Chris and I have to talk. We have a big decision to make about the Hall of Fame, because like the audience loved her. I think they love you more than they love us.
Yep.
Very hard to do. Time out.
Yep. What do we got?
360 is not eligible. Thank you for being honest, Joe.
So we gotta run.
We gotta go back. We gotta go back.
Okay, then it's gonna be the Spidey cover for me.
Raising Elm. This is gonna be tough because he may win the finals from September.
Yep. So if we wins the finals, we're gonna have to.
We have two more to choose from. Dani, we're gonna reach back out to you for you to decide.
We'll do that if that happens. Yep.
Yeah, but right now, Raising Elm, you're a semifinalist and a finalist, which has never been done in comic book canon history.
Yep.
Dani, literally, they love you. They love you. They love you. They love you. So please, we're begging you, if you come back, you do not have to do the interview.
Yep.
You are on equal footing as us, to the point where you can kick us off as well. And we don't. Yeah, we again. We need to know that you made it past 1,300 subs. So you better be subbing her up right now. The link is low. There is no excuse. So get to it, Dani. Any parting words?
No, thank you guys for having me. You guys were awesome, and I appreciate you even thinking of me to come on to your show. I had a blast.
Well, I can tell you for sure it's not the last time we'll be asking you. It may be your last time because, again, that interview was rough and we were not very nice to you. But Chris, any parting words before my computer dies?
Yeah, no, I will say I think she had one of the toughest interviews. It was the first time that I really played the bad guy too. Jeff,
I know. It's great.
So,
great. Really, you're like, get her off, get her off, get her off.
Yeah.
But it's love it. Detroit is rich in history. But yeah, Dani, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate what you do, and like Jeff said, introducing you. I think it is very important that we represent, women in this community, in this hobby, because I think there are stigmas out there that many young girls coming up reading comic books or into pop culture that don't feel like there is a place for them. So you give them that, there's that empowerment there, and you give them that opportunity. You show them that is something that is possible for them to do. And we welcome that here on the show. We don't care who you are, where you're from, your gender, whatever. If you are into comic books and pop culture, there's a place for you here. So thank you for, really being a model of that. And just also for being a positive, awesome person and collector with awesome, awesome content. So guys, go sub Dani up at her channel before you guys end the night. It has to happen.
There's no excuse not to. All right. And to you fine people that are with us each and every week, we appreciate you more than you know. You guys seriously do a lot for us. And I can't express that. It's been a rough time past few years for everybody I know. But again, I appreciate you. I know Chris does. And I think Dani does too, actually, probably because you guys are showing her the love. So anyways, we'll be back next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on a Sunday, as always. Eagles are undefeated. Be good to yourselves and be good to others. We'll see you next week. Peace.